it's Mistress Carrie, and you are listening to the Geekcast Radio Network.
Hi, this is David Kay, and you're listening to Altered Geek. Geek, geek, geek.
You're tuned in to Steve Megatron on Altered Geek.
Hello and welcome to Altered Geek. I'm your host, Steve Megatron, and joining me on this adventure into geekdom is TFG1 Mike.
Hello.
And Mike Booth Ninja Powers.
Hello.
We is back.
Yeah. 3 episodes in a row.
I know.
Right.
Look at me go. I'm doing something.
There you go.
So how has everybody's week been going?
It's going. Sometimes I wish it would stop, but it's going.
Mine's been pretty good. I have been troubleshooting an issue with my HVAC system.
Oh, that's fun.
I mean, it's not not a bad a bad thing to try to troubleshoot or narrow down, but because we still have cold air, so we're not dying or in dire need of any replacement equipment or anything like that. But last summer, when the AC would run, and the reason I can hear all this so people don't think I'm just crazy and standing outside by my air conditioner. The air conditioner for my house is on the opposite side of the wall of my family room. So I can hear it when it starts up and when it's doing anything that it shouldn't be doing. And last summer I noticed that it would run and then for an extended period of time, and then it would kick off, and then the compressor would immediately try to start back up 3 or 4 times, and then it would kick on for another couple of minutes, and then it would shut off like it was supposed to. And I didn't think anything of it. I'm like, okay, we'll just, we'll get through this, whatever, we'll deal with it later. And then we got to the winter, and one of the first, when it got colder, I noticed that my furnace was doing this weird thing, or the blower of my furnace was doing this weird thing where it was running, and then it would kick off and then kick right back on. And so I finally got fed up with hearing that, because my desk is right in front of the return. I know this is all very boring, but it's going someplace interesting, I think, for me anyways. But so finally I decided to call the people that installed the HVAC system in my house and ask them if they could send somebody out to the house, and they wanted $400 for somebody to come out to the house and just look things over. And I was like, no, that's okay. I'll just wait until something breaks, basically. If I'm going to have to pay that much for someone just to come out here and look at it. But I'm glad I did, because as soon as I got off the phone with them, and I was kind of mad about that, I went and checked the air filter. And yeah, well, with COVID-19 and all that crap, completely lost track of time like everybody else did, and didn't realize I didn't change. The last time I changed my air filter was the beginning of 2020.
Oh, no.
Oh, wow.
So I was like, holy cow, I am so glad that I didn't pay $400 for a technician to come out here and go, it's your air filter.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So I replaced that this past winter while the furnace was still going, and that immediately solved the blower coming on and kicking off problem. And I'm like, okay, the AC is probably good then too. I thought maybe it was something similar. Except since the beginning of the summer this year, the AC has been doing the exact same thing. And so I finally called another company, and they came out and they ran all their tests on everything in the house. And they're like, no, you're a little bit overcharged, but everything's on the up, everything's right where it should be. We can't, for the life of us, we can't figure out why your unit is cycling like this when it's not supposed to be. So anyways, that brings us to this past week where I've been trying to troubleshoot stuff, and finally I was like, the one thing that nobody looked at or thought to look at, including myself until this past week, was the thermostat.
Whoops.
So I have a Nest thermostat. I've had one since 2013. Now, this is not the same one I've had since 2013, but it's a product I'm familiar with. So they have a little product called Airflow, which like it runs the blower for an extended period of time to empty the vents of any cold or hot air that was produced. So it's not just going to waste like after the AC shuts off.
Right.
And I thought, well, maybe that's what's going on here. So I turned that feature off and we let the unit run, and it ran for like 2 days without an issue. And it's not a reoccurring issue. Like some days it wouldn't happen at all, and other days it would happen like quite frequently, like and mostly in the evening. So it was not something that could be reproduced while a technician was here. But it ran for 2 days without an issue, and then yesterday it just decided, like, it just did it again with that setting turned off. And I'm like, dang it. So I went and got a dumb thermometer or a thermostat and hooked that up. No problems whatsoever. So
somebody fried your nest.
Well, it's probably that. Something probably happened. Like there was I've had the backboard on a Nest go bad before, so there's probably something somewhere that got borked, but it's way out of warranty. So the geek part of this is I decided to order another smart thermostat to try, which is the Echo Bee stuff. And I've been messing with that all evening. That's what my evening consisted of. From like 6 o'clock to about 15 minutes ago, I've been doing nothing but staring at my phone, watching, and also listening for the AC to act up in any way, shape, or form. So I know if I need to rip it off the wall and just go back to my Nest, it's just all for naught. But so far everything's been on the up and up. And what's really weird is the house is a lot colder since even putting in the dumb thermostat yesterday. So that tells me that there was something wrong with the Nest for a lot longer than I thought something was wrong.
How long have you had that particular model? You said it was out of warranty, but
I've had it for 5 years.
Oh, well, yeah.
So if Nest wasn't owned by Google, I would have I would try to reach out and ask them for help, because before Nest was bought by Google, just like every other company, they were actually really good with customer service and could pull logs from their hardware and give you information about what's going on with stuff that you can't see. And they won't do that anymore.
Well, that sucks.
Doesn't surprise me.
No, it doesn't surprise me. It just sucks.
I had a thing. I can't remember what it was. It was something, but I tried to get them to do it like a probably last year or the year before that. Who knows with the COVID time shrink, but like they wouldn't go and look at anything because of privacy, which I guess I get, but it's like, dude, just ask me a series of questions like any other company would that it verifies that it's me, and go rooting around in my stuff. Like you used to do this.
Yeah.
Like, and so we just decided to go with another company this time, and the thing functions a little bit like, because not all thermostats function the same, right? So now my wife and I are going like, is it supposed to be doing that?
Yeah, exactly.
Is it supposed to work like that? And it just so happens that we installed it on like one of the hottest days in the summer. So now we're like, it's probably just because it's hot outside, right? Like, so I don't know. That's been my since last Friday was when the tech came out, and I just decided like on Monday started thinking like pointing the finger at the thermostat. So I'm hoping I'm at the end of this little adventure, but that's what I've had to deal with. But I like it. I do. I like messing around with all that stuff. And then they have a web interface for the thermostat, which shows you bar graphs and everything.
That's so awesome.
I love being able to look at metrics for nothing that anyone cares about.
It's a metric of how cool or hot your house is. I mean,
Yep.
You gotta keep up with that stuff, especially if you're a homeowner.
Oh, yeah.
Me, I just have to worry about having enough AA batteries on hand for my... I don't understand this. So, the apartment building I live in, it's over 50 years old. They've constantly been improving it and things like that. And it's got, all new, like... But the building itself is old as hell. I move in here and I'm like, oh, okay, that's the thermostat. Great. I don't remember the last time thermostats had batteries in them. Or is
Dumb
it just
thermostats do.
Yeah, okay. Well,
Yeah.
then that's, well, apparently they haven't upgraded this building enough because I have to make sure I have enough AA batteries on hand for every remote I have in this apartment, plus the dumb thermostat. At least it only takes one. Steve?
Yeah, I mean, I don't have problems with air conditioning in my house, but I've got a smart one, but it's not that smart. It's supposed to work with an app, but it doesn't. And it came with the house, so I kind of just ignore it for the most part. But I'm also not home enough. So we keep it around like 80 even when it's hot, because there's a lot of days we're over 100 degrees.
Yeah, this is one thing. Like my wife, and that's the other thing. I know this is riveting conversation for everyone that tuned in to listen to this whole freaking thing. But it was just like there were a whole like even at the beginning of this season, like I just knew something was off somewhere with something because we've been having to like cool the bedroom down or tell the Nest to cool the bedroom down to like what we thought was like 73.
Mm-hmm.
And since we've lived in this house, we've never had to have the bedroom like that cold at night. Like it's been usually we leave the thermostat would be at 78 during the day, regardless of how hot it got out, and then like 75 at night. And having to like force the bedroom down to 73, I was like, there's something is not right here. And there was I think there was like just a cascade of failures that the Nest doesn't report to you because it just became a dumb thermostat that was severely crippled, I guess. I don't know. So, but for all I know, the extended, that there was probably only like 6 months from when it started up to when I changed the air filter. So it very much could have like destroyed it. And I really should have like checked that. That's not me though, because I should have checked that air filter because everything around our house was still under construction when we moved in. So there was just like that thing was the worst air filter I've ever seen anywhere. I couldn't even believe I let it get that back because I'm usually like, I gotta get new air filters. And my wife's like, do you really have to buy one? Even though they're like, $30 or something like that. She's like,
yeah.
Do you really have to get them? And I'm like, that service call almost cost us $400 for someone to tell us that we need a $30 air filter.
Air filter, yeah.
And they probably would have charged us for it. So, anyway.
So not to get depressing or anything else, but when Karen was still alive and we had the house that she owned in Illinois, similar air conditioning things happened, and it was a 100-and-something-year-old Sears home, and it had this old boiler and whatever and water heater and all. And they're like, would you like a tanked water heater or a tankless water heater? They're like, okay. Well, we're like, okay, which one is going to be the best that doesn't cost us so much of an arm and a leg? And I'm like, pretty well go tankless. So we did. But that was a night. I'm so glad I'm not a homeowner. I could never deal with that stuff.
I prefer being a homeowner because I don't like being bewildered to someone else controlling the place that I live.
That's so unfortunate because like I have a tankless water heater. And I love it.
No, I loved it too. Absolutely.
I thought you said it had problems.
No. The old and busted 100 and something 30-year-old something tanked water heater was the problem.
Gotcha.
And when we were going to replace it, we asked them what would be the best and almost like the most cost effective. And they said, well, there's this tankless water heater, or in order to replace your one giant drum of a 50-year-old heater that you had, we would have to buy you 2 30 or whatever it was, 2 separate. We're like, fine, just put the tankless in. And yeah, no, we absolutely loved it. It was great. It was awesome. It was the best thing we ever had in that house.
That's what we invested in during the pandemic. Is we got, I don't know if I ever was on the podcast and mentioned this, but we had solar panels put on the roof and a tankless water heater installed. Yeah,
you did mention the solar panels. I don't remember you mentioning
That was like priority one. The tankless water heater was like priority one when we moved in here because we don't have a basement. And
yes.
so, and we have our staircase wraps around on itself, right? So there's a landing midway, and then it turns around and doubles back on itself.
Mm-hmm.
Well, on the main floor, under that is to get that space back, they put a closet there, and that's where they put the water heater. The problem is they didn't put the water heater like back as far as they could. They basically, you open the door and the water heater's right in your face. And then there's all this empty space, like just for that you could use for like storage, Rubbermaid tubs. It's full of Lego boxes right now for me, but like that space was all, you couldn't get in there to store stuff. It was just wasted space. And that, like, the first thing we did was have them install a tankless water heater. And luckily they're small enough. They actually installed it like under the landing. Like it's all the way at the back of that storage space now. Like it's all the way at the back on the outside wall of the house. And we got all that space back. And basically we turned it into the cat's bathroom.
Funny.
So anyways, yes, owning a home 101.
It's pricey.
It can be, yeah.
Yeah. So who here has joined new social media platforms? Like for myself, I recently joined Instagram and by association Threads, which is like Twitter Lite.
So I joined Mastodon when Twitter started going belly up a while ago, because usually when there's a new social media platform, I will dip a toe in and register my name. That way, if I ever have to use that or like I need to use that for anything, I can use my name and I don't have to worry about somebody else having it. Like, so I do pretty much have, I don't have TikTok. I don't have
Yeah, I don't have that either.
I don't have TikTok or Snap.
Snapchat?
Yeah, but
I don't have that either.
I think Booth Ninja 81 is on just about every single one. Now, if that app is on my phone, is a completely different story. But I do have an account on every platform.
I've been on Twitter and Facebook so long, it took me up until, I don't remember when Instagram started. I really don't care, but I wasn't until like maybe, I think I've been on there since 2019. So it's been a while, and like you guys have said, Twitter just started going. I mean, it's been crazy since 2014, but it's gone a little more insane since Mr. Billionaire bought it.
Well, it was kind of losing its way anyway. It was becoming a colossal cesspool. It just, yeah. And so several people suggested Blue Sky, and then Threads came along. I was holding out on Threads up until we decided to do this discussion, because I kept hearing people say, oh, it's like classic Twitter. It's like Twitter of old. It's like this. It's like that. But it doesn't have this. It doesn't have this. And it doesn't have that. And I don't know what this, and that were. But so I was like, oh, I'm going to wait until it improves more or whatever. And we decided to have this talk. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, I'll try it. And I'm on there, but I'm barely on there. I check it maybe once a day, whereas I'm on Instagram God knows how many times a day, because I belong to through a Patreon program I'm in, I belong to a specific group chat for a YouTube channel. So, and Facebook, I probably will never not use Facebook unless it dies, obviously. So, which I get.
Yeah. Blue Sky is kind of cool. It's essentially decentralized Twitter.
If I remember, like Threads is even supposed to be decentralized to a point too, because like they said it's supposed to be able to integrate with Mastodon.
I guess I haven't looked that deep into it.
And other stuff, like neither have I. I'm just like I've read a little bit about it and like what they're using, and I think Blue Sky is supposed to be able to integrate with Mastodon too, which is interesting. But I don't know. Like I realized today, like I used Twitter a lot. I did. And for a lot of things, but the thing is, I never, how do I say this? I never used Twitter I used TweetDeck. Right, but like from the get go, like I used apps that like Twitter didn't used to have ads in its feed when they started adding feeds, but I always used a third-party app to access Twitter. I used Tweety, and then when Twitter bought that and they bastardized it, then Tweetbot hit the market in like 2011, 2012, and I had only ever interfaced with Twitter through Tweetbot, which didn't give me any of the ads. Like, so when people were complaining about seeing stuff out of like context or like this, like, why am I seeing this? I never saw any of that stuff. I thought I'd even see like promoted tweets and all that stuff. I never saw any of it. I only saw the stuff that I subscribed to, and that was it. And so obviously we've talked about this already, but like I guess like it's weird to say, like, I've never used Twitter. Like,
you've never used the actual website, you've never used the actual app other than to sign up and that kind of thing. And up until they killed TweetDeck recently, I didn't either. The only time I ever used Twitter was on my phone when I wasn't at my computer. But my computer, my desktop has always been my main, because I've never, up until I met Karen back in 2017, I didn't really have smartphones. I always had, the phone number through Skype, or I had dumb cell phones or whatever kind of thing. Before I met Karen, the last smartphone I had was, I think, the iPhone 3GS, and that was God knows how long ago, over a decade. But when I was on the iPhone, back then they had Twitterific, and this was another one of those third parties with Twitterific. The coolest thing about that was the mentions were one color and the DMs were a different color, and then everything else was its normal, whatever the normal Twitter, light mode, dark mode, whatever. But ever since TweetDeck was around and we could do columns and do all this cool stuff, and now Twitter has basically, with Mr. Cologne over there, he's basically said, oh, we're killing all third-party apps, including the ones you love, we're going to bastardize TweetDeck and make it this stupid thing, and we're not going to make you or let you go back to the old one unless you pay us. And I'm sorry, I'm not paying for social media. That's just not happening.
I would pay that man his asking fee if I could use a third party app.
I could see that.
I would 100% pay it, because I paid to use those apps. Like, I paid those app guys to use their apps. Like, I would.
Now, would you pay a monthly fee, or would you want like a one time?
I'd pay a monthly fee. I'd pay whatever they ask. Like, if they seriously went like, you know what, it's this much per month or this month for the year, like, I would totally. But the caveat would be, the guys that made Tweetbot would have to bring Tweetbot back. I don't want to use somebody else's app. And speaking of that, that's why I signed up for Mastodon, because those guys jumped from, they took their Tweetbot architecture app and renamed it Ivory and built it on top of Mastodon. But yeah, I look at Twitter right now, and it's just, all it is full of dumb people, because I can't see. I mean, I see the people that I like follow or what I follow, but it's like, you have to go between like 10 other posts from people that you've never met spouting
nonsense
nonsense.
Yep.
And ads. And I never had to deal with any of that. I never saw it. And it's like, man, I realized, like, I didn't like Twitter. I liked interacting with people on Tweetbot. Like, your product, Twitter was garbage. I think Twitter's always been garbage. It's been the people that it's people that made the apps that made it usable that made Twitter what it is. So that's unfortunate.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Threads is interesting too, because anytime I follow somebody new on Threads, my feed gets messed up.
Yeah, like, it seems to kind of go all over the place.
When you add someone new, right? Like, so this morning I looked up I had a couple people a day that I remember following on Twitter just to see if they're on there, and this morning I looked up like the Colorado Avalanche to see if they had a Threads account, and they do. So I clicked on it, and I went back to my main feed, and for some stupid reason, there was no Colorado Avalanche stuff in my thread. It was all stuff for the Dallas Stars. I was like, why? Why are you showing me this? Like,
I think that goes into advertising in general, because I've seen ads for some new law that has come out in Michigan, and I live in Indiana.
well, I mean, but like these aren't, I don't think these were necessarily ads. They were posts from like the Dallas Stars. It's
Right,
like, no,
right.
I wanted to follow Colorado.
Yeah,
I wanted to go back to my feed to see the people that I follow, what they posted. And now it's just like flooded with Dallas Stars stuff. And I'm like, you didn't even try to get this geographically close close to where I am. Otherwise, you'd be serving me up Columbus Blue Jackets crap.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. And that I obviously that only lasts for like a little bit. Like, I refreshed it and it kind of like sorted itself out. But like, it's like
It took a while.
Yeah, it's like, no, I know what you're trying to do, and it's not going to work. So
I think the coolest thing with Threads, as far as joining it, whereas I was already on Instagram because it's through Instagram, it's through Meta, it's through whatever, is that any of the people you were following already on Instagram are already being followed by you on Threads already. So you don't have to go search out all of those people that you had already been following on Instagram. I think
and that was the draw.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
So like that for me was like kind of I mean, I was new to it, but I just kind of followed everything that popped up for Geekcast Radio and some other stuff. So yeah, I don't know. I'm still experimenting with it. I still haven't found a good alternative to Twitter.
do you guys think Reddit's going to go away?
I have never used Reddit.
I never use it, but I don't see it going away.
That's just funny to read about on a daily basis.
What, Reddit?
Yeah. Just how crazy it is and what they're going through, because that's another basically a web experience that was entirely curated by the moderators of the forums or the subreddits. I don't know what it was over there, but it was entirely curated by people that don't even get paid to do the work, and that made it like what it is. And the company thinks they can wrestle it away from these people, and that it'll still be the same product that they're trying to get, IPO on. So I don't know. It's funny watching these companies just go sideways.
And there's a lot of them doing it now.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't understand why people make like why companies are making the choices that they make. Like sometimes I can kind of see why companies do things the way they are, and I can almost always see why they do it, but I don't understand why you're doing it, because you're just alienating people, or you're giving yourself bad press and
bad
crap
PR,
like that.
Yeah.
I mean, where I'm kind of going with that too is just on another like side trip is that, and this only affects me out of the three of us, I think, but like GM is dropping support for CarPlay.
Oh no! I mean, it doesn't. I mean, I can
Doesn't
sympathize.
surprise me. I mean, I don't have a modern car, so it doesn't really.
It doesn't surprise me either, but it's like, why? Like you think you can come up with something better? Like it literally just lets people put maps on their dashboard and play their music in an iPhone type environment, and it's like you've had it in your cars for like a decade, and now you're just gonna like, okay, you want to take on Apple's you don't want any of that Apple, the Apple ecosystem money. Like, that's fine, they'll just go buy cars elsewhere. I don't know, it just stuff like that just baffles me. It's like, especially since it's an auto manufacturer, and I don't think any of them know anything about UI and software.
Nope.
Like,
Yeah, no, they don't.
Like, you can't compete. Like, like, why are you even trying?
So it's funny, even though out of the three of us, I don't drive. I never have driven due to my disabilities and everything else. It's just not a thing I will ever be able to do. No. However, I watch a bunch of tech YouTubers, and MKBHD is one of them, and he has his autofocus channel, and he talks about electric cars and other cars and everything else. And the one thing he always points out is, like you just said, none of these car manufacturers know how to put UI for tech in these cars. It's just crazy, and they're all different. We need one uniform thing for it. For the new cars, whatever, like whatever's gonna work.
I don't know about that. But that's me. Like Allie asked me, like, are you like, just don't let this like going back to this thermostat thing tonight. I was like, just don't let this ruin your night. And I'm like, no, I like this stuff. Like, I like learning something new.
Yeah.
You know, but granted, I've had, I got a Chevy Blazer last year, and I've never used the infotainment system in that car. Like, I can't. I'm lucky that I have wireless CarPlay, which means I just jump in the car and my iPhone shows up there instead of their trash.
Yep.
But and I know what their plan is. They're working on something themselves that they want people to like subscribe to, because they're trying to get that subscription money.
Yeah.
And okay, so you want that subscription money, then make something that's better that people will pay for. Otherwise, just give everyone the choice of what they want. Like, I don't know. Anyways.
Yeah, no, again, you're absolutely, you're right. We're talking about new tech gadgets and everything else and all this stuff and social media and everything else. And it all goes back to what they want as far as subscription money and all this and all that and everything else. But like, for me, ever since Karen had gotten sick in late 2020, early 2021 with her liver and her kidneys, I slowly transitioned, if I could, all of my premium streaming services to annual billing, because I only want to pay one time per year. I don't want to have to pay $15 a month here, $17 a month there, $45 a month there for Netflix or whatever it is. I'm just using that as a outrageous example, but I would rather be able to have either a one-time payment or a yearly payment.
Does Netflix have an annual?
No, not to my knowledge.
No. Okay, because I know that Allie and I talked about that too, doing with taking our tax returns and just doing annual subscriptions. Mm-hmm. For the stuff that has it, like Disney Plus, HBO, just getting it out of the way. At the beginning of the year when you've got you've got tax returns coming or something like that. Mm-hmm. And the reason we didn't do it is because Netflix wasn't included in that. But we still have we're still going to get rid of Netflix. At the end of the month after we finish watching The Witcher. So, which feels so weird to me. I can't imagine not having Netflix. And I don't know why.
Because it's the original.
Yeah, and I've had it since, I had it on my Xbox 360, man. In 2007, I remember or 8 maybe it was. That's when they started the streaming stuff, the watch instantly.
Yep.
And I don't know. I can't. It's so weird. I've had something since 2000. I've pretty much had Netflix for as long as I've had an iPhone, which is 15, 16 years. Mm-hmm. So it's oh my God, I can't imagine not having that. But the thing is, I don't even look at Netflix on a daily basis. We watch just about everything else until something comes on Netflix that we want to watch, because Netflix is just garbage now for the most part.
I go there for various movies that I want to watch, as long as it's a Netflix original, so I assume they'll still keep it up. I don't think they'll ever get rid of it, but The Atom Project and Six Underground, those two movies I like watching every once in a while. But unless it has something, any streaming service, unless it has something I'm going to be watching on a regular-ish basis, and that's the other thing with me, I don't watch content the way I used to. Steve's been podcasting, what is this year, your 16th or 17th year?
It's been since 2006.
Oh, geez. So you're way over that. So, yeah, so you're 17 years this year. I'm 15 years this December. And I do all of my stuff because I'm eventually going to record a podcast about it. Whatever show it is, it doesn't matter. Like shows, movies, cartoons, whatever it is, comics, music, whatever. I do it for content for the podcasts. And if a streaming service doesn't have what I want to watch or what I need to watch, then why am I going to pay for it? Like, you know, as awesome as it is to have that old reliable thing, that as much as I love having not having my situation change or whatever kind of thing, it's like, if you don't have anything I'm not interested in watching, why am I paying you money? You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I gotcha.
So, but yeah, no, I think Max, Paramount Plus, Disney, those are the three that I know that have annual billing.
I know Paramount Plus does because my parents, I'm piggybacking off my parents for that.
Yep. I'm pretty sure Peacock does, but I don't know. What is crazy to me is that Xfinity which they're all owned by Comcast. Xfinity is Comcast, whatever, but Xfinity did away with having Peacock as part of the plans now.
Well, they own NBC Universal.
Right, no, I know. But that's what I'm saying. Like, Peacock is the NBC Universal. Well, it's not the NBC Universal app. It's one of them. It's the NBC branded app. And it's just crazy to me not to have that included in my internet and Xfinity Flex and all that stuff, everything else. It's just crazy what they give us, what they think we want, and then what they think, oh, well, we're going to screw everybody's life up and remove this one thing. If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Well, it's about consolidation.
True.
A lot of them, like Hulu's going away at the end of the year because it's being swallowed up into Disney Plus.
You know what? Honestly, as much as I do like a lot of the stuff that I have on Hulu and everything else, they're, as we've said already, they'll offer annual billing on some other plans, but they don't offer it on the whatever the no ad 2-screen stream, whatever the plan was that was $11.99. It's like $15.99 for no ads now. So honestly, you know what? If it's all going to be on Disney Plus anyway, I'm perfectly fine. I'm grandfathered in on that for a while. So, streaming services, what are you going to do?
Yeah, I don't know. We use Hulu quite a lot. That's probably the other thing, and I'm trying to get my wife to let us keep it when it's up in September, is we got a trial for YouTube Premium.
Oh, YouTube Premium. Once you go premium, you never go back because you'll...
I agree with you because, like, I can't tell you how much nicer it's been to just
watch it and not have ads
and not have to hit the skip ad button.
Yep.
Like, it's game changer. Hello. Like, I think that's what we might replace Netflix with is YouTube Premium.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's a lot of movies for free on there too.
I don't even care. There's enough stuff that we watch. Like it probably goes like. I'd probably say half of what we watch in the house comes off of YouTube. Yeah. And then the rest of it is broken up between like Hulu, HBO, Netflix, and ESPN Plus. Like we get way more value from the YouTube Premium than we do from like Netflix.
Yep. So. Yeah, absolutely. I went premium last year. I forget. I've had YouTube Premium for a couple of years now. And I just finally and look, I know everyone listening to this that may or may not be a YouTube creator. If they are, I'm sorry. It's not about the YouTube creators not getting ad revenue off of us watching it. It's more for me because if I am paying for content, that content better have no ads. End of story. And YouTube, you don't pay for it, obviously, unless you want to, kind of thing. But some of the YouTube ads, some of the ad placements are just... If someone is in the middle of telling me about a iPhone 17 whatever... No, I know. Somebody's doing a bulleted
video on the new features of iOS 17, because even though I'm not an Apple person, I still keep up with what's going on, and I still like watching people talk about the stuff. And their conversation and what they're telling me is interrupted by a YouTube ad. Nope, not gonna happen.
Do you know John Hyatt songs?
Maybe you know them from being covered by Roseanne Cash, Three Dog Night, the Neville Brothers, Emmylou Harris, Eric Clapton, B.B. King, Jeff Healey, Bonnie Raitt, or literally hundreds of others.
Maybe you have some of his albums on your shelf, or in your cow-horned Cadillac right now.
I'm Jesse Jackson.
And I'm Sylvan Groff.
And we're going to dive in from A to Z. Join us on the Perfectly Good podcast.
We're going to discuss all of your favorites and uncover some forgotten gems, from Aces Up Your Sleeve to Zero House.
Rate and debate every John Hyatt song on the Perfectly Good podcast. Have a little faith.
And some of those mid-rolls you cannot skip. Some of them you can't.
I've got a browser extension that skips them for me.
Well, that's good.
We use the Apple TV for that, and we've been able to skip just about every, unless it's like a really short ad, like one of those little like 5 sec, like it takes you longer to click the button than it does for the ad to play. Like they don't let us skip those, but we've been able to skip everything else on there, which is one of the reasons why we just kind of like put up with it for so long. But I don't know. Like they still get something though, right? For you watching those.
I assume they do.
I have no idea.
I don't know how.
They have to get some kind of revenue from that. It might not be a lot, but they have to get something.
I'm sure there's plenty more people out there that are not us, that are not paying for premium. I'm sure there may be plenty of people that do pay for it. But I mean, YouTube is the single giant of like video uploading services for everyday people kind of thing, not just tech YouTubers, not just experts, not just specified people that create content. So I am sure there are plenty of people that don't pay for premium.
Oh yeah. Oh, wholeheartedly.
Yeah, and I guarantee there's a majority of people that don't pay for it, and there's other ways that they do it.
Yeah, which I heard not too long ago. They're coming up with a way to circumvent that.
Yeah, unless they disable the developer tools, there's not really a way to do that.
They think there is, so that's all that matters.
I've gone into the code successfully and ripped things out of even the live streams of something that, you pay for the live stream and you're like, well, I want to have access to this. And they're like, well, you get access for the next month. And then after that, it's gone forever.
So this information is, oh god, sorry, Steve.
Well, and so like I reverse engineer it so I can get in and get the file. Like, because like, one, if I paid for it, I'm gonna make sure I get it. Two, I don't know. Like some of the time I think it's a bit ridiculous, but like I get everybody's gonna make money off of it, but at the same time, some of it, I don't know.
According to Google, who owns YouTube, this is as of almost a year ago, September of 2022, YouTube surpassed 80 million music and premium subscribers globally. So there's 80 million people that subscribe to it versus I don't know what the number would be that don't subscribe to it because it doesn't say. You know what? All of these creators, some of them have premium services that you can pay for. Like I know MKBHD has all kinds of merch. I know he has a specific premium section on his Discord. I know, a lot of people do Patreon and other things. I'll gladly support the creators directly if I can, kind of thing. So,
Yeah, I've done that. There's only one Patreon that I subscribe to. But it's weird because we've got people that we've watched on YouTube and we still watch them today, but we've been watching, we've watched practically, I'll say 95% of all of their content we have consumed. And we regularly go back and just put it on in the background for noise. That's how much we like these guys. And they have a Patreon that we've just never subscribe to. So, and I don't know why. We've talked about it, and then we just don't do it.
Yeah.
So,
I'm too poor.
Yeah, that's what I mean when I say if I'm able to. I have a specific budget per month, and right now I'm currently doing 2 Patreons, and I'm getting the benefits that I want out of those, and the rest of it is, I don't know. So,
Yeah.
all right. Other technology things, gents?
I've been messing around with my 3D printer quite a bit. I'm about to finish printing my stasis pod. It'll be done tonight.
Yay!
Been working on that for over a week. So it's finally printing the last piece. I ran on a filament of a particular color, which is not why I used orange for part of it. That was just because I have to paint it something similar. So I just was like, I might as well use that color while I waited. And then the gray, I was waiting for that to come in so I could print the rest of the pod. But yeah, I assembled part of it this morning, and then I took it back apart and just glued it. Now I'm in the painting process, other than the final piece I'm waiting on. So about another week, I should be done with painting it finally.
Awesome. Very cool. Very
Nice.
cool.
And then I'm going to print the Enterprise in a bigger scale, because the one that I printed kind of turned out like crap, just because the angle it printed at.
Mm-hmm.
I sanded it down. I have a Dremel tool, which I forgot I even had until I was trying to fix some of what printed badly, and then I was like, oh yeah, I can fix that, and so I tweaked it the best I could, and then I kind of I like spray paint, and my wife messes with me about it because I'll sooner spray paint something than actually paint it. So I spray painted the ship with like a very dark metallic gray, and it looked fine overall, but I realized that it was entirely too dark to do any other paint work on it. I was like, probably should have printed that in white and then done all the detail work, because I want to try and do like the sticker job for it and kind of, do the I want to torture myself basically with the paint job. So I printed the Enterprise from Picard season 3. So yeah, I want to print the Enterprise D and E, and then the one from Picard. So, but I have to wait until I get done with the stasis pod and then find good enough files to print.
Yep.
And this thing's almost done. So, but yeah, I've enjoyed having the 3D printer. Getting it to print right has been the biggest pain. But since we last recorded, I figured out a lot of it and managed to print the entire stasis pod. So
that is awesome. Very cool. Very cool.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
Wolverine is in the blue and yellow spandex finally, is he?
Anybody else excited about it?
Somebody said to me that I don't think it was you, Mike, but somebody said, I don't think the Hugh Jackman Wolverine character would want to be in that. Like, he wants to be, like, wasn't it a joke in the first film? Didn't Marsden say it? Didn't Cyclops say it to him? What were you expecting? Blue and yellow spandex?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the joke about this is there's like a Planet of the Apes moment that they have them screenshot with Deadpool and Wolverine.
Mm-hmm.
And it's got the 20th Century Fox logo collapsed where the Statue of Liberty was.
Yeah.
And so I have a feeling that they're going to, he's going to discover him and kind of pull him out of that universe, more or less.
Oh, God.
I don't know, like, as bad as I can see the film going to some regards, I'm kind of excited for it too, because I just like how he portrays it, and plus those two work together really well.
Yeah.
So here's something interesting I find that it just kind of, it's very interesting to me that Deadpool 3 is being filmed under the same conditions that Wolverine Origins was being filmed under.
A writer's strike?
Yep.
Snicked.
There's something fitting about that, I think.
Well, and then they're bringing back Stryker.
Oh God.
Was it
X2? Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, he's
That's
coming
fine.
back. So
Honestly,
I wonder
the only
if they're
thing
going to
that I have-
purposely crap on it.
The only thing that I really have a problem with is what you said about the Planet of the Apes 20th Century Fox thing. That's just too. There's something too on the nose about that, I think. I don't know. Like, that's just. Ugh.
That's just so crazy it might work.
I'm sure I'll see it anyways. It's just one of those things where it's like, I mean, I get it. It's Deadpool. That's his thing. But like, I feel like you can only take that so far before it just gets annoying.
Well, I think this is the way this is the send off. Like, yeah. I don't think there'll be another one.
Mm-mm.
I think this was kind of like the way to get Hugh Jackman to come back to the role.
Yep. That's the only, I mean, I'm not saying that's the only reason why Deadpool 3 is getting made, but that's the only reason why that it will be the last one, because it's Ryan and Hugh.
Well, and they didn't want to take away from, like, Logan.
But I feel like Logan's the better movie to go out on.
Absolutely. I don't know. I can't say anything about Deadpool 3, but I do agree with the sentiment of Logan being the better film. Because that was really good.
I mean, as much as I enjoyed it, I like the fact that they're getting a redo at the Origins almost with the two of them.
But like, okay, so normally I will defend this about the whole, Origins need to be told because not everyone is.
I know, but it's not an origin. It's
no, I know, but I'm saying, like, my point is that it's the third movie. Like, yay, the yellow costume, but other than that, like, what after the second film, where can the Deadpool character go? Like, is the sky the limit for his character in the films, or does he have a specific point to get to?
I think they're going to break the multiverse.
Well, it's Deadpool, of course they would.
I'm tired of this multiverse crap.
Me too.
It makes everything so messy.
Mm-hmm. I forget I was on a podcast or a video cast or a YouTube. I forget where I was, but I was talking about the fact that we've had multiverses in the last 15 years, 16 years, 17 years for so long now. I miss the age-old thing of having one film, beginning, middle, and end, and then that's it. And then maybe 2 years later they come up with a sequel, but it's not guaranteed, it's not hinted at, it's not whatever, you just never know kind of thing. I miss that single, and there are still single films out there these days, but most of them are so niche, it's beyond the scope of what the mainstream stuff is. But I think we are hopefully heading back in that direction, because I think everybody is kind of getting tired of the multiverses.
I think it's just getting burned out, like, in general, but I'm more so excited for Deadpool 3 because of the interaction that Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman get to have, and then you just know it's going to be fun between the two of them and seeing what they can get away with. Granted, I feel like they won't get a lot of that because with the writer's strike, they're not allowed to ad-lib.
Yeah.
And the writer's strike, they're not allowed to. So,
yeah.
Granted, that means the movie goes to a halt anyway.
Well, it should have halted. Well, I mean, it should have halted today too.
Yeah, because of the actual strike.
Yeah. So
yeah, I mean, we'll see what happens. I mean, I'm kind of bummed about it because like that just means we're going to be in one of those scenarios again where everything is kind of up in the air.
Was it 2 weeks ago, or was it us that I said this, that SDCC, whatever year it was, where Marvel released Phases 5 and 6, they blew the wad on that?
Yeah, it was
because okay, all right. Well, the reason why, because again, so we had the pandemic that delayed everything. They're now pushing back everything anyway because of all of the delays. And now, like Steve just said, with the writer's strike, that's going to, like right now, Deadpool is scheduled for May 3rd of next year. Deadpool 3 is. I don't think it's going to happen unless it's already done.
Well, it's not.
Yeah.
My thing is the writer's strike. I have a feeling, and the actor's strike.
Yep.
I don't think we're going to see any of these programs that we're seeing hinted at make the light of day, just because, everything's shut down. And then I think it was funny. I think it was Bob Iger was like, "This is not, I just don't understand why they're going on strike. This is like the worst opportunity time." It's like, well, maybe for you.
Like, and that I said this is like, I've been looking into the strikes over the last day and a half or so, and from what I can tell, from what I've looked at, and from several actors that I've seen online, like I've seen at least 2 different posts from voice actress Jennifer Hale, where she is expressly saying in posts, in images, and everything, unless you get her express written permission, you do not have permission to use her voice or anything with AI, etc. Like, look, if that's what all this is about, which it is,
it's a lot of it has to do with that.
Yeah,
because the studios are trying to have AI write the stories now and use their canned footage to AI train it to replace them.
Speaking of, have you guys seen the new Black Mirror episode on Netflix?
Nope, I don't watch Black Mirror.
They literally have one of the newest episodes is literally about that.
Mm-hmm. Isn't that whatever film? Yeah. Oh, I just read the plot synopsis for a certain IMF movie, and I'm like, oh my god, it's like real life on screen.
Joan is awful. The episode is called Joan is awful it's the Black Mirror episode. It's literally that's what but it's taken to the extreme. Basically it's the streaming service in the episode is called Streamberry. But it's literally it's just I don't know how Netflix let them do this. But basically, what happens is when you sign up for the Streamberry service, you sign over your life and your likeness, and they can do whatever, they can AI generate whatever they want.
Oh my god.
Off of you. So they start making, basically they make a show called Joan is Awful, but Joan is a real person.
God.
And it just kind of like spins out of control from there, and it's like, and you think about just the ramifications of like anybody that signs up, they have the legal right to do that. So they were able to like AI generate celebrities, and that's so crazy that I can't believe Netflix let them do that.
Yeah, that's nuts.
But or make the episode anyway. It's like that's crazy to me. But yeah, man, more power to them. But I just can't. I'm sitting here going like, well, what can I do? Can I just like not? If I can just not go to the movies, like. because that ends up hurting them. The studios ends up hurting.
But how many people will actually do that?
That's the thing, right? If you go like, well, it's just me. It's just my $20.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to guess the ramifications, I guess.
Yeah. So,
I quit going to the movies years ago, but that was more so just I don't have time.
But I feel like that's like any type of activism, right? Or like any type of like boycott that you might want to like participate in. It's like at the end of the day, it's unless you're like in like a community of people, it's probably just going to be you taking that stand, right?
Yeah.
So, but that's just where it comes down to like, do you have the willpower to make that stand? You know, like it doesn't matter like oh, what do you think it's going to do? I mean, anyone can say that about any type of I don't know what word I'm looking for here, but
campaign
activism, campaign activism. You know, what have you? Like, well, what do you have? Like, what little bit does that you contribute is why do you think that's going to matter? Well, it matters to the individual, right? So
yeah.
It matters to the individual, and honestly, if enough individuals get together and like, I remember as a kid, my mom and everybody else under the sun, if something wasn't going right if something didn't go right, everybody was like, start a letter campaign. Everybody did letter campaigns back in the 70s, 80s, and early 90s. Like, write your congressman, write this, write that. And some of it worked, most of it didn't.
Right. Well, I mean, that's what I'm saying, though. Like, it's like just because you don't see other people doing it or there aren't other people around you.
Yeah, it doesn't mean it doesn't work.
Yeah, it doesn't mean it doesn't
happening.
Work.
But
yeah,
but I'm saying like that's usually like what do you think your little one-off? You know, they're not just because they're not going to get your $20. That doesn't matter.
Well, enough people don't give their $20. Then
that's
exactly. So you shouldn't be deterred just because you're the one person that wants to take a stand. Like there are probably other people out there where there's enough to make a difference is a different story, but people shouldn't be deterred from taking a stance just because they might be the only person in their friend group willing to take that stand.
Well, the thing is I completely agree with why they're striking. If that's 100%. If that's 100% the reason why they're doing it, because I don't want my voice taken, because I mean, there's nothing to stop them from taking podcasters' voices or YouTubers or whatever, and saying, well, they endorsed it because, they did this, or they, and it's like, well, I never said that. Well, we have audio that says you did.
So it's funny you say that. And Mike, I'm going to go to you since you're the Apple expert of the three of us. I've seen videos in the last couple of days. Like I mentioned, the iOS 17 update. Have you received the iOS 17 update yet?
I do. I've had it. I've been using it for about a month.
Okay. All right. Well, I keep up, but I'm not as fast as everybody else is. So anyway, they have this voice modulation. What's the thing now? The new thing in the iOS 17 for the voice dictation?
It's an accessibility feature.
Okay.
And I'm not quite sure of the use case for it. See, the thing is, it's not something that I'm going to use, so I haven't really watched a video on it. I'm well aware of what you're talking about, and I haven't set it up myself, but I think it's just like you can train the phone to speak for you, but I'm trying to figure out who that's supposed to give a voice to.
So I think it's better speech dictation for, like, I use, like, I'll do this as an example on the podcast, and I'll just send it to you guys in Facebook Messenger. Like, I can hit my microphone on my Google Pixel 6 Pro. Hey guys, recording the podcast. Duh. And I can just send that. So instead of typing that to you guys, I just say it. It shows up. It's a dictation type of thing. I'm pretty sure it was Mr. Who's the Boss, or maybe it was him and MKBHD that both have a video about this. I remember Mr. Who's the Boss doing it, Aaron Miani. I remember him talking about it. But they were also talking about it in the sense of that it sounds like their voices are now becoming an AI voice kind of thing. Like it's a your voice. Like instead of having Siri be the voice that Siri is, Siri could now be your voice kind of thing. That just creeps me out.
No, that's not. You're not replacing Siri, and that's not.
Yeah.
It's not. It doesn't help with. Apple says the personal voice can provide valuable assistance to people facing challenges with speech due to conditions like ALS or similar ailments. It allows them to preserve their unique voice and communicate more effortlessly.
Got it.
It's not you. Basically, it's text to speech in your voice.
Okay, right.
It's not speech to text. It's text to speech.
Okay, yeah, I got it now. I just got it.
So
backwards.
I think what it is, like, if you have symptoms where you could potentially like lose your voice or it's going.
Yep.
You can use this to create it, and then you can text, and it's you rather than it sounding like some random AI thing.
Yep. Yeah.
That's why it's under an accessibility feature. You're not replacing Siri. You're not.
Okay.
It's not helping. Now, dictation is improved with iOS 17. That is a thing, yes. But no, personal voice is an accessibility feature that is text to speech in your voice rather than something that Apple put on the phone, basically.
Well, that's cool because some of those AI voices, like on Instagram's Reels and stuff, they're just creepy.
Yeah, and I haven't set that up. Maybe I should set that up. Maybe I'll do the entire next podcast with my personal voice.
Tune in 2 weeks from today, folks. That would be funny.
Oh, man.
Oh, AI. It's going to be the death of us. All right, I think the last thing we want to briefly bring up is the totally tubular trailer talk between Ahsoka and Wonka, and I don't remember what other ones we had.
I think you mentioned Blue Beetle.
Yeah, I mentioned that. I know of
it's
the
interesting looking as far as the trailer.
Yeah, the way it looks is why it grabbed me. It has nothing to do with the blue. Like, I know somewhat about the Blue Beetle comic book character and everything else, but I've never had any interest in Blue Beetle in general. I just like it. Ooh, look, shiny. That's all it was for me.
So, I think, how do I say this without sounding like a completely awful person? Because I don't mean to sound like a completely awful person. I want to see. I don't think it's that bad. If it's that bad, then we can just edit it out. But I'll let you guys be the judge. I want to see Blue Beetle for the same reason that I want to see or that I wanted to see like Black Panther, because I'm not represented. Like, I want to support.
Right.
That.
Yeah.
Like,
that's not bad.
And I'm fine. I'm one of those people that's fine with, like, I don't need to see me again. Like, that's boring. I don't want that. And I don't, so like that to me is the most interesting thing about Blue Beetle. And I know like a little bit about it from some animated series. I don't know which one he was in.
He's been in multiple, but I'd have to actually look it up, and I'm too lazy to do that right now.
Yeah, so it's not that big of a deal, obviously, but I think, was he not in the Arrowverse at some point?
I think they hinted at him. They mentioned like Cord Industries and some other stuff, but they never actually had him show up.
Okay.
Because they were going to do Booster Gold too at one point, and that didn't.
Okay, so yeah, I'm all for it. The only thing, again, like we said on the last episode, like, does it even freaking matter? Like, I don't.
Superman is supposed to be the start, right? Superman Legacy or whatever it is supposed to be the start of James Gunn's universe. So is Blue Beetle this final thread of the?
Blue Beetle is a part of this. Is a part of what's coming.
Oh, okay. I mean, like with what you're saying about that you're not represented, that it's other, whatever represented. That's fine. None of that really ever met. Like, for me, when it comes to comic book characters, it's about like the character of Blue Beetle. It really was. It was always about the super part, not the
not the Clark Kent part kind of thing for me. So
yeah,
I mean that's why I'm really not that interested in it. However, sure. I mean, like I said, shiny. It looks really and I liked the trailer. I liked what they did in the trailer, and I've seen several different versions of Blue Beetle over the years in certain. I think he was in Young Justice.
I think that's where I saw it.
That's probably where he was.
Yeah, I remember him being in there, and I remember him being in some other stuff off and on.
That's the animation style that is jumping through my head right now that I can't place. So.
Good old Young Justice, gotta love it. And then Star Wars and Ahsoka. You've lost all hope, haven't you?
I haven't lost all hope. I watched the trailer. An interesting aside, I watched the trailer with my wife, who then looked at me and like tried to get me to share my opinion first. And I'm like, no, you go first, because she generally kind of looked a little excited. Which is weird because it's Star Wars.
She's not a Star Wars person.
No, and bless her heart, I've been trying to drag her kicking and screaming through the Clone Wars and stuff like that. Because for me, I wouldn't care about Star Wars right now if it wasn't for Clone Wars and Rebels. Dave
Filoni is great.
Yes. But like if those shows did not exist, I would not care.
One iota.
Well, Star Wars would have ended for me with Episode 3, right? Like if because there's that huge gap in there, like that decade long gap where all there was Clone Wars and Rebels, and luckily that stuff was actually like good. I mean, I've said before on numerous other occasions, there are entire episodes of Clone Wars that retroactively make the prequels better movies.
100%. I just finished late last year. Yeah.
And Rebels is just an extension on that. And I mean Bad Batch too, but see, Bad Batch is now but if I hadn't if those two shows hadn't existed, I wouldn't have cared about Mandalorian. I wouldn't have cared about episodes 7, 8, and 9. I wouldn't have cared about, anything that came after that stuff. And so with that, going into Ahsoka, Ahsoka is probably my favorite Star Wars character because, spoiler alert, I mean, she basically tells the Jedi Order to go F themselves.
Yep.
Which endeared her to me and is one of the most controversial things about episode 9 when she's in there at the end and it's her voice, cheering Rey on. Gag me with a spoon, please.
Yes, I know.
But I was like, people were like, oh, she's a Jedi again. I'm like, she better freaking not be. I will be angry if that's the case. No, thank you.
I just blame J.J. Abrams. I don't think Filoni had any say in it. I think they were just like, oh, let's throw in this other voice because.
Absolutely, because 9, I can't watch 9. I cannot.
It's a terrible film.
I watched it once and I don't even remember it. And I remember 8 even less.
And see, I liked episode 8. Episode 8 reminded me of Clone Wars and Rebels, and that's why I liked episode 8. Because it wasn't afraid to take a stand and change something for the sake of good storytelling.
Mm-hmm.
And then 9 completely trashed everything that 8 had done and lead so far into the fan service that they didn't even they reinvented the wheel. There's stuff in Rebels that better explains things that happen in episode 9, but they decided not to do it. And what's her face? Carrie Russell?
Yep.
In 9? Why wasn't she Sabine?
Yeah, right.
Her character was nobody. She could have been Sabine from Rebels and it would have blown everyone's freaking mind. But you just had to cast Carrie Russell because you're J.J. Abrams and you make her
do everything.
Someone forgettable. I don't even know.
Yeah.
I cannot watch that movie. I don't own that movie. I own every other Star Wars movie but that one. Like, and I can't even bring myself to buy like the Skywalker like Legacy, like the Skywalker like saga set, like because of that movie. Like, I don't want that movie. Anyways, that's an aside. So like, but Clone Wars and Rebels, they set the stakes so high for me for what Star Wars can be, or I feel like it should be. And the first season of Mandalorian was like there. Season 2 like lost it, and season 3 was, I don't know what season 3 was, a cameo fest.
Yeah, season 3 was not only a cameo fest, but from what, I don't remember if it was Favreau or if it was Filoni that said this, but they were trying, the goal was to bring the larger Star Wars universe to Mando. And my thought is, no, keep that Skywalker crap away from this. This is good. This is awesome. This is cool. Yeah. We only have hints of the Empire. We only have, like, Moff Gideon. Great. Fine. Sure. Bring Gus Fring from Breaking Bad into the Star Wars universe. Make him a badass. Whatever. That's fine. That's good. But, like, the rest of it was like, oh, why do we have to drag all these other people in and what? I don't know, man. It just.
And then Boba Fett was garbage. And Obi-Wan was garbage. So.
Obi-Wan was better with the fan edit.
Yeah.
I don't have time after I wasted all my time watching.
The good thing about Obi-Wan was, I forget what her actual name is, because everybody actually just calls her as Little Leia, but whoever plays Little Leia, that young actress, that was great.
I guess if you discount the first episode where people are just falling all over themselves trying to catch her.
Okay, well. I'm saying she as playing a young Leia, that's what I think is great. The performance of her, not necessarily the plot and what she's caught up in.
I'm just glad
plot
that they
was convoluted. It could have been just a one-off film without Leia,
which is what it was going to be, and then it isn't that. Like,
and
the first two episodes of that. Yeah, the first 2 episodes of that show, that series, you don't even need to watch. You don't. Like, you could start with episode 3 and watch the last 4 episodes and you're fine. Like, anyways, so I've been excited for Ahsoka since she showed up in Mandalorian, and then, they're like, oh yeah, it's basically like a spiritual successor to Rebels, and I'm like, huh? Okay. I'm paying attention with what's going on. Oh, Sabine's there, Chopper's there, Hera's there. I'm like, okay, Thrawn, I'm paying attention.
And then they're gonna have Ezra.
Yeah, that's fine. I like Ezra.
Well, they gotta bring him because he was lost with Thrawn at the end of Rebels.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm on board with this, and this is the one that could just. Ahsoka is the one that could like crush, I think, Star Wars for me.
If they do it poorly.
Yes. It's going to make or break whether or not I watch any other Star Wars content, like.
Ever.
Yeah. I don't. So I'm cautiously optimistic. But anyways, my wife watched the trailer and she was like, we've only got like a season left of Clone Wars. Cause like I keep telling her like, let's just watch Rebels because Rebels is better than Clone Wars. But she's like, do I need to watch like stuff from Clone Wars to understand Rebels? I mean, like and here's the thing with my wife, like I could give her like an abridged version of Clone Wars, but she doesn't want that. Like, she will like, I can drag her kicking and screaming through like all of Clone Wars because she doesn't want to just watch the episodes out of context. Like just the ones that she needs. Cause years ago, I made the mistake of trying to do that, like getting her to watch Justice League, the animated series.
Oh no, you can't do that. No.
I was picking and choosing the episodes to show her because they're not all great.
Yeah.
And when she realized I was doing that, she was like, "Oh no!" And so we never went back to watching it again.
Oh,
So
that's like what happened with me in Star Trek TNG with my wife.
Yeah, like my wife won't let me curate like a best of or an abridged version, or like these are the only episodes you need to know to get to understand Rebels. So she's willing to like sit through all of it, and so we've got anyway. She seemed a little more excited about continuing our watch through of those now that she's seen the Ahsoka trailer. So
when did Rebels run through? Was it 20? When did Rebels start?
It ended in like right before Rise of Skywalker, didn't it?
Okay.
I think. Like
I honestly could not tell
I
you.
watched it when it hit. It was the first thing I watched when Disney Plus
came on. Yeah.
So.
I remember and this is again. So this is why I'm asking is because. Let's see. It ran from anyway. When 2014, really? 2014, 4 seasons. So 2014 to 2018. Wow. 2019, whatever. So 2014. I remember trying to watch this show on whichever Disney thing they had it on back then. I forget if it was XD
Disney XD.
Okay, well, whatever. That's not the point. The point is, I tried watching it, and like all television networks, they always move the action cartoons around, so I never could catch it. But what episodes I did catch of it, I could not stand Ezra. He was such a whiny.
Ezra is annoying in the first season.
Yeah, that's the only season I actually tried to watch at the time because they kept, like I said, they kept moving it around.
There's a time jump between season 1 and season 2.
All right, I will try again.
But the thing I really liked about Rebels is they really went in the Ralph McQuarrie art style. Like they totally used all like that artwork that he had done, and that's what they used for their character designs and like the lightsabers and stuff like that. Which is why they look more like rapiers than fluorescent tubes.
Yep.
But also, in my opinion, the scariest version of Darth Vader. Like, I feel like Darth Vader looks the way that. So the Ralph McQuarrie, I hope I'm getting that guy's name right. I think I am. But his rendition of his drawings of what Darth Vader should look like are far scarier than what Darth Vader actually looks like.
Yeah, the concept designs for Vader were the concept designs for everybody were way scarier looking than what they actually ended up being.
Right, and I feel like that is the Vader in Rebels is much closer to his design, his concept design for the character, which makes him more terrifying than the on-screen version of Darth Vader, who I've never really felt was. I feel like every other Sith Lord was, with the exception of Dooku, was scarier than Darth Vader.
Yeah. The only thing I really like about him is the voice, and then some of his actions were scary, but most of them weren't because it's just wasn't. The Sarlacc was scarier, kind of, but not really. I like that
Star Wars meme that goes around every time there's like a new show announced, where it's like Star Wars has an entire planet full of demonic S&M witches. Where are we going to set this one? Tatooine. It's like, what? There's So like we said in the Facebook chat, and I will say this until I die. Star Wars is better the farther away it gets from Skywalker garbage.
100%, I agree, because here's the thing. We've told that story for the past 50 years almost.
That's one of the things I cried foul on, like when it was when the DVD version for the original movies came out, like the special features or something. There was something like oh, Star Wars has always been the story of Anakin and Vader and all that stuff. And I'm like, you're such a freaking liar.
Yeah,
like
they lied.
I don't like I at least I never thought that. Like watching the first 3 movies, I never thought it was about Darth Vader. I never. So like I don't.
The original trilogy was more about the mysterious part of Darth Vader, like he used to be Anakin Skywalker, like that whole "what happened to my father" thing. That was the mysterious and cool part about it. But the actual story in the original trilogy, it's surrounded by a moisture farmer who becomes a light tube wielding, mind controlling moron. I don't know.
Sure.
I don't know. I guess I don't know. But yeah, I'm so over the whole. If there was never another Skywalker anything, I would be perfectly fine.
I would too, except there's going to be more.
Mm-hmm.
And I told my buddy, because he's a Star Wars guy, and we joke about this stuff all the time because he knows I get so mad about it. But like, they announced like the Rey movie, which I'm totally fine with. I'd probably go see.
Except she's a Skywalker.
What's that?
Except she's a Skywalker.
Right. But I'd probably go see it just because it's Rey, and I never had a problem with Rey, and I just would. I don't get why people had a problem with her. So, anyways, but there was another one that they announced, and it was like supposed to take place like what 10,000 years before the Skywalker stuff, and be like the origin of the Force and all that stuff, which. Awesome, cool. And then there was an article I read like in the last 2 weeks that they said there will be thematic connections between this movie and Rey's movie, and I'm like,
the first Skywalker.
I was like, if you show me a cave painting
of a Skywalker,
I will walk out of the movie theater.
Nope.
I will never watch another Star Wars movie thing again. You're 10,000 years early, and I don't know if you guys have ever read the Thrawn books.
I briefly have, but no.
So the Thrawn books mention it's an entire. So there is one thing I will accept. There is one version of a Skywalker that I will accept. In the Thrawn books, they talk about the edge of the galaxy and being able to hide out there and all that stuff. And there is a race of people called Skywalkers. But it's a group of people. Like they don't go into like a whole lot of detail about them. They just mention them. But it's not like they have no link to Anakin Skywalker. They're just called, and in fact, they're not called. They're Skywalkers, not Skywalker.
It's a plural thing for.
So it's because it's a whole like race or group or society of people that live in these like the unformed regions of space in the Star Wars universe. And it's like again. You have all this stuff to play with, and you want to go play in a sandbox.
Yeah. No more sandbox for us, please.
Nope, we're always going. There will always be a Tatooine.
I know. There can always be a Tatooine. That's fine.
Everyone liked Hoth. Why are we going back to Hoth?
Oh, I know. That was a cool planet.
Oh, okay. Speaking of, again... Remind me if I've said this before, because I don't freaking remember. When I finished Clone Wars, those final, what is it, Mike? 5-6 parts? That final arc of stories where she's abandoned on whatever planet, like they crash land on the planet, and then time passes, she buries her sabers in the snow or whatever else. And then, like, time passes and Vader shows up and picks up her sabers at the end. Yeah. I literally thought that was Hoth. I was hoping against hope it would have been. But it's not.
Yeah. I mean, but that's also, like... see, I don't... That kind of reminds me of, like, the beginning of Episode 9, where they're fighting... Where Kylo Ren's fighting in that forest, and then you find out that that's Mustafar. I was like... Where have you ever shown us that there are trees on Mustafar?
Exactly, yeah.
Get out of here. Nonsense. Absolute nonsense. So, I don't know. I don't know. I'm cautiously optimistic, but it could go really bad for me in Star Wars if Ahsoka is not what it should be.
When does she come into Rebels?
The end of the first season.
Oh,
Yep.
okay. Oh,
There's
good.
there's a key element that happens, and yeah.
So time jump from first to second, and less douchey Ezra. Okay, good. Then
Yep.
I might actually. Not that I wasn't gonna give it a try, but like,
Plus, Kanan goes a long way to balancing out Ezra.
good. That's good. Yeah, that first season, I cared about every other character on that. Kanan, Zeb, everybody else except Ezra. I wanted him to just fall into a pit on Mustafar for the first season. That's what my and again, back then, back in 2014, I only ever saw like 1 or 2 or 3 episodes of that first season. So I'm not trying to sit here and judge Rebels I'm just trying to make sure I have the character, whatever, of what I don't like, to where I'm like, okay, fine, I'll suffer through one character.
Wow, you've grown.
Hey, I'm trying.
This isn't the TFG1 Mike I know.
I'm trying. I still couldn't get past the first 15 minutes of Game of Thrones, though. They did nothing but walk.
That's all right. Well, wait. Have you seen Do you watch Lord of the Rings?
I'm sorry the episode's turned into a longevity, Steve, but I'm the one editing this stuff anyway.
No,
So
I'm just
I have to give you context. So this is quick. In '94, I was 14. I got a copy of Fellowship of the Ring. First, I was 14 years old in the 90s. First time I ever read anything like it. I could not get past the sentence, Bilbo's 11st birthday. Had to look. He's turning 111 years old. Like, I understand it's Tolkien's language and all that, but like, ever since then, it's just never been my thing. So no, I've never seen any of the Lord of the Rings stuff.
Okay.
So, all right, Steve, I think we've blaster shot this podcast into the ground.
So you're saying Han shot first? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways. Alrighty. So, thank you for listening to this episode of Altered Geek. I have been Steve Megatron, and joining me are
TFG and Mike.
And Mike Booth Ninja Powers.
And you can get a hold of us on the website, geekcastradio.com. You can find us on various social platforms. I'm at SCP21 on Twitter, but Steve Phillips VO elsewhere.
I'm at TFG and Mike on Twitter, and it's pretty much TFG and Mike almost everywhere, except I think Instagram is TFG and Mike Presents.
Yeah, as I said earlier, you can find me on just about any social media platform. It's Booth Ninja 81. Whether or not I have the app installed to get the notifications is another story.
Hey, whatever works. So,
Yep.
So until next time, get altered, get geeky with the Altered Geeks.
Wow.